Greetings, African people. Today I want to talk about the new reforms in immigration around the world, particularly Great Britain and United States of America. I just got a phone call from somebody, and the person was really distraught. And it's very easy for you to tell somebody, don't worry about it, just go home when you've lived somewhere for 20 years. So this individual family member has lived in the United States for 20 years and lived there for a great part without proper papers, but eventually got their paper. But the person had some run in, and it's not a big thing. It's not like it's some traffic violation, um, I guess cursing out some traffic police, but somehow this person's name is in the books, and person just suddenly gets called and told that they have to go because they have some record, some violation of sorts. I don't have all the details. And I'm thinking to myself, once again, Black people are asked to help to build nations, but we are so disposable. We're disposable. Now, the argument is always the same for me. If you know you're living in a country that is outside of your own, whether you're in your own country or not, you should try to be a law-abiding citizen. So for the person, she's an older woman. And this is something that happened many years ago. When I tell people that there will come a time when we all have to go back where we come from, either forcibly or because the environment is so hostile, people usually joke, they laugh. We, as people from the Caribbean and a lot of us from Africa, when we get transplanted to other countries and we make that our home, many of us, as they used to say, throw stones behind us. We abandon our past, we abandon our homes. And I understand some people have some terrible experience back home, and so they don't want to be reminded of it. When I was in Jamaica recently, I was in Kingston in an upscale community, a gated community. I stayed there. And the truth of the matter is I was afraid to venture out in the evening. So I can understand if someone comes from a neighborhood where there's a lot of violence and, a lot of poverty, and they have been away to the States for a long time. The idea of going back must be terrifying. Tell me, I want to hear from you. If you were forced to go back home, how would you feel? Um, Whether you have money or you are financially embarrassed, if you were forced, if somebody came and said, you know what, we are changing the immigration laws and you fall within the scope of our changes, you have to go. Would you be prepared to go? Some time back, I had a young man that used to always support me on my channel. I don't know if he watches anymore. But he was my strong supporter and always commented on my channel. And one day he made a comment, and I felt that that comment could be used against him because he was saying things about the United States, and I wasn't sure if he knew that these comments could be used against him. So I said, are you sure? Anyway, he was very upset. I never saw him. I never heard him again. Never commented on my channel again. He was angry, but I didn't mean any harm. I just wanted him to know that when you're using social media, be careful what you're saying, especially if you knew that someone could just pick you up and send you back to Jamaica. Would you be willing to live with that consequence? So many of our people around the world at this moment are being targeted for deportation for one reason or the other. And not everyone that's been sent home is a criminal. This is what I want to remind you. Question is, I really need to talk to some people about this. How do you feel about the new immigration rules? Is anyone in your family, any of your friends affected by this? Is there anyone living in fear that they could be deported? Is there anyone, even if you're a landed immigrant or you're a citizen, do you ever have fears of returning to where you come from? Where are you from? I'd like to hear from some people today, where you're from. I'm not sure, when I go into my analytics, I can see, I have subscribers from around the world, but not everybody's active. So where are you from? And how do you feel about going back home? If you were forced to go back to Jamaica or to whichever part in the world you come from, if you were forced, what would that be like for you? I know a lot of families would be broken. Many of us from the Caribbean or from Africa have our children here. All my children are born in Canada. I'm not just a landed immigrant anymore. I'm a citizen. However, those who are immigrants here, who are landed immigrants, they work and they contribute to the development of this place. Now, I admire our prime minister. I usually don't care about politicians, but I admire this man because he's not afraid to say, I am not you. He is not afraid to say, you know what, I'm going to judge people on, not on their religion or on their race or on, their economics, but I'm going to show respect. I appreciate diversity and all that, but not every place in the world is like that. And I find our prime minister, because his intention is good, he's going to get a lot of fights. There will come time in the world where you're not comfortable and you're going to get pressured to feel like, you're better off going somewhere else. Talk to me. We have worked hard to build the places where we're at. Many of us are, however, struggling financially. Many of us, even when we have a home that we own, the burden of running a household, paying mortgage and all that comes with owning a home, requires individuals to get second, third jobs. Some individuals who have their home can barely afford the bills that are associated with that, let alone taking care of themselves. But still they carry on. Do you think this is a good time to start investing in the places where you come from? Is it too late to do that now? And is it a possibility that things will change so much that eventually everybody will end up going back where they come from? Is that far-fetched? And if you were forced, how would you feel? Be honest. Because there are places in Jamaica where I wouldn't want to live, honestly. Perhaps because I didn't grow up in that environment when I was living home. It would frighten me a little bit because I've lived here way over 20 years. Some of you have been away 30, 40 years. You don't know how to function in Jamaica anymore. I've lived here at a shorter time than a lot of people. And when I go home, I completely rely on my husband or rely on someone to help me get around to figure things out. What do you think this immigration thing is doing to people's psyche? How is it affecting people? And those who are feeling fearful. Just recently, the president prevented people from coming back who had green card. And how does that relate to prophecy? Be blessed, African people. Can I hear from you?